This is Mayor's Coffee Chat. Today is April 1st. No fooling. Welcome. I hope that y'all are having a nice week so far. Let me see if I can get to the dashboard. If you guys have any questions, please put them down in the comments, and I will take a look at them and try to answer them as best I can. If I don't have the answer, I will post the answer here as soon as I get it. Boy, this looks different on Facebook is keeping me on my toes. Anyways, it's been a busy couple weeks. I was up in Tallahassee last week and the week before. The 2 weeks ago, I was up there with the Suncoast League of Cities. So we send up a small delegation every week during session to talk about bills that would affect our cities and to advocate either for or against such bills. I'll talk about a couple of those in just a few minutes, but also our boys were doing, good morning Mike and Terry, good to see you here, thank you. We're doing the House Page program, which if you don't know about that program, and thank you Preston, it's good to be back. It's for middle school and high school kids, and it's either in the House, and there's also a page program for the older kids at the Senate side. It's a great program. They spend the whole week working on the floor of the Capitol, taking messages back and forth, but also importantly learning a lot about the function of what goes on in Tallahassee. I know that they spent a session over at good morning Stacy, over at the Supreme Court, and sat down with one of the Supreme Court justices for half a day and met kids from around the state, and they really had a good time. We were up there, my wife and I were up there, and I spent the first 3 days advocating with the Suncoast League, and then we were able to spend about a day and a half checking out Tallahassee a little bit, because normally when I'm up there I'm working and hustling, so it was nice to relax a little bit. That was 2 weeks ago. I was back last week with the Florida League of Cities, which had 370 elected officials from around the state. I think it was their biggest showing ever for Legislative Action Days. There's a couple big bills. Some of them, my take is that it's not as bad as it has been in the past on this preemption stuff, but there's definitely plenty of state preemption trying to go on coming out of Tallahassee. Two bills that I'll highlight. One is the CRA. We have a community redevelopment agency in our downtown, and we're working on establishing another one on Clearwater Largo Road and the district kind of northwest Largo. And this would abolish CRAs, which really doesn't make any sense. The state doesn't have any financial input. It's just interesting to me why. I understand where it's coming from. It's coming from some CRAs in South Florida that are doing bad things with, kind of shady things. And frankly, in Pinellas County, the county is a great partner in these CRAs, and they really make sure that it's in an area that will benefit from it. One of the oldest established, which will be sunsetting shortly, CRA in the county is downtown Dunedin. It was established a long time ago, and they were able to focus on that and really see a regrowth of that area. So CRAs are doing good things in Pinellas County, so we're up there advocating for those. There's another, you maybe have heard of the Live Local Act. There's a project that's coming soon on Donegan Road that is a Live Local Act project. And basically what that means is the state sets some parameters and we have no public input at all. Meaning the elected officials don't have any public input. They don't ask the neighborhoods for public input, and they can build higher density, affordable housing without any public input and no regard to the plan that's been in place for a long time. So this expands that a little bit. It does. I think there's a couple of things in this proposed update that help us, but it further expands the preemption and takes local government out of that decision-making process even more. So we were fighting against that as well. So it was busy up there in Tallahassee. It's as Senator Hooper likes to say, it's early in session, and this is the time of bad ideas. And there's a whole bunch of ideas put out there. A small percentage of those actually get to the finish line, and there's good ideas too. Don't get me wrong. So Tallahassee's always fun, and it's fast. It's meeting with every legislator, and it's fun though. Let me see what else. Oh, there's also an emergency preparedness bill, and that's sponsored in the House by McFarland and over in the Senate by our Senator Nick DeSigli. And I think it's generally a good bill. It helps encourage and give some structure so that communities across the state are better prepared for hurricanes. In the wake of Helene and Milton, there's a lot of lessons learned, and this tries to help communities actually do some things better. There's some challenges in it too, but with this bill, I think working with both Senator DeSigli and Representative McFarland on the House side, we're working around to improve it and make it it should be a really good bill. So we're getting there though. It's part of the process. So that was Tallahassee. Some upcoming events here in Largo. This is an important event. Everybody looks forward to it. 2 weeks from now, on the 12th of April, is Shredfest over at the Starkey Road Recycling Center. Shredfest is from 9 until noon. It does end if the truck gets full before noon. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes that truck completely gets filled with shredded paper. So if you've got some boxes, try to get there early, 9 until noon on the 12th, which is Saturday. We have the Ulmer Park Evening Market on a Saturday. It's on the fourth Saturday each month, so the next one is on April 26th, and it's in the evening. I think it starts at 5 or 6, but it's on the fourth Saturday. April 26th is the next one. Good morning, Cindy. This weekend, we have train rides over at Largo Central Park, and whenever the train is running, so it's the first week of the month, whenever the train is running, almost always the Historical Society opens the museum in the historic Largo feed store. So if you're over there to ride the train, take a stroll through that historic museum in the feed store and talk to some of the members of the Historical Society. They have a ton of knowledge about our city and Central Pinellas as a whole. Some of these folks, when I was a kid here, they were coaching my family in softball and stuff, and so I've known these folks for a long time, and they're born and raised in Largo. I'm not going to tell you how old they are, but they're a lot older than me, and they have a lot more knowledge about this town than I do, historical knowledge. So go check them out at the historic feed store. Good morning, Doug. Thanks for joining us for some coffee this morning. Let me see. This Saturday, there's a couple things going on. I just mentioned a couple of them, but also we're going to have a sensory friendly open house at the police department. Normally, when the police department has an open house or a community event, it's all sirens and loud noises, and this is going to be different than that, but there'll be tours. So if there's sensory sensitive folks in your family or kids and you want to go to that open house, it's from 11 to 1 over at the police department. It's open, it's free to anybody, but it's a great way to see the police department without all the loud noises and impacts from that and bright lights and stuff. So that's this Saturday from 11 to 1. Also, the Rotary Club is hosting a cleanup over at the Bayhead Action Park. It's a pond cleanup, so we'll be bringing our canoes and going in the canoes into the water and picking up all kinds of litter in the water. You may know this, but that Bayhead Pond is a stormwater pond for the whole downtown area. So when people throw cups out on the street, anywhere in downtown, and they go into the storm drain, they end up in that pond. So first thing, don't throw cups on the roadway and out your window. Keep them in your car until you get to a place that has a trash can and put it in the trash can, or a recycling can if it's recyclable. But that Bayhead Pond just gets pummeled when it rains a bunch, and I know it hasn't rained recently, but we're going to be out there on this Saturday in the morning at 9 o'clock doing a Bayhead Pond cleanup. If you want to come out, you don't have to get in the canoe. You can help on shore. I think Morgan Fitzgerald, some of their junior National Honor Society kids are going to come out and help on shore a little bit. The teacher just sent me a message a little bit ago, so we should have a good crowd. I took a look at the pond this week, and it definitely is in need of it. The Rotary Club does this twice a year, so in the spring and in the fall. And that pond has looked so much better in the last 3 or 4 years as the Rotary's been doing that. My next live coffee chat will be on the 15th of April, so in 2 weeks, at over at Acropole, and that's at 8:30. Please join me if you can in person in a couple weeks. Let me see, this Thursday, this is really cool, and I know there's a couple of jazz fans that are already said, I know, don't be a litter bug. Thank you, Stacy. It's crazy. People still throw stuff out their windows. But this Thursday evening, there's an evening with Branford Marsalis, who's a world-renowned saxophonist, is Grammy Award winning. He's got, I think it's a quartet, four folks. If you're a jazz fan, you don't get much better of a venue for somebody like Branford Marsalis than our Central Park Performing Arts Center. So there are still some seats left. I looked just this morning, and that's this Thursday at 7:30 over at the Central Park Performing Arts Center. All right, so tonight we have a commission meeting, and I'm going to have a special guest with me. I've got a student from Largo High School's Excel program that will be shadowing me all afternoon. So it'll be an interesting afternoon for him. I've got some serious meetings leading up to the commission meeting, and then the commission meeting will probably be pretty lively as well. And we got some good stuff on the commission agenda, but he'll be with me from. I told him that I'd like him to set I got to go home time, like maybe 8 or 9 o'clock, so because he's got school tomorrow morning. But he'll be with me, so I'll introduce you to him tonight at the commission meeting. He's a Excel student. His name's Malachi, and he'll be with me all afternoon. I've had shadows in my chiropractic office many over the years, but I've never had somebody that asks, "Hey, I want to shadow you as mayor." So that's interesting. I'm not sure that he'll ever want to be a mayor after. No, I'm just kidding. But he's a good kid. We'll see him today. Let me see. We have a couple ceremonial items today. This month is Fair Housing Month. Next week is National Library Week, which is April 6th through 12th. So we'll be talking about both of those. And then we'll be celebrating not only our new firefighters. When we hire new firefighters, they work for a year before they're officially they get their yellow helmet and they're officially kind of brought in. They're technically probationary for the first year, although they work just alongside and just like the regular firefighters. So we hired a group beginning of last April, and we'll have the yellow helmet ceremony for them today. And we're also celebrating the promotion of Lieutenant Billy Stark. A lot of y'all probably know Lieutenant Stark. He was born and raised here in Largo and has been doing great work in the fire department for a long time, and he was just promoted to lieutenant recently. So congratulations. He's also one of the captains of our extrication team. So he's the commander during the competition, oftentimes anyways. I saw them practice last week, and it's so impressive. So they set up scenes where there'll be a car on top of another car on top of an electrical box next to a culvert, and then their team has to go in and take the injured person out without injuring them more, and it's for time and accuracy and safety for both the patient as well as them, and they just do an amazing job. So importantly, they're one of the top extrication teams in the country and in the world, and they're helping to train others in the area as well as other other members of our fire department who may not be on the extrication team, but in real life they may have to work on an extrication. So that work on that extrication team is helping save lives right here in Largo and in Florida all around. So it was cool to see right here at it's called Pick Your Part. That company has been amazing with donating cars and helping set them up and allowing use of some of their space over there for all this training. We'll also have yes, it's our library's great. We'll talk about that more today and during National Library Week next week. So we'll have a Horizon update from Colliers, who is our leasing agent. There's some exciting news there, and I can't spoil it. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to spoil it, but we'll probably hear about it tonight. And then we have a potential land use amendment for East Bay Country Club, where the owner of the country club wants to put in some condos over there. We'll see what happens with that. My stance, and this has been my stance for a long time, is if you're looking for a land use amendment, the future land use map is a plan that has been established for our city, and if you want us to change that plan, it should be good for everybody. So we'll see what type of compelling discussion there is tonight and go from there. I'm excited. I'm interested to see what the situation is, because I've talked to a lot of residents over there. I share some of their concerns, and I think that there is it should be an interesting discussion. We're also looking at the amending our floodplain management regulation, and that's kind of in the wake of hurricanes Helene and Milton, and along the same lines as the state legislation that's moving through up in Tallahassee. We'd like to make some changes to make things more clear for people, more clear for our staff, more clear from FEMA, really, on the steps to get people back in their homes and make it a better process. I think everybody learned a lot. Some folks are still working through that process, and certainly changing some things for the better will be a good thing. So that's pretty much it for tonight's meeting. There's some other consent agenda items, but that's the meat and potatoes of it. This week we will have a commission retreat this Friday. I'm looking forward to it. It's a full day thing. Gosh, I'm not sure what time. I think it's 8:30 in the morning until 4 or 5. And the nice thing is we have 2 new commissioners, and so this will allow us some time to really sit down and hash out and make sure that everybody's hopefully we're all moving kind of in the same direction. We've got on our commission there's 7 of us, so we don't always agree, and we often don't agree across the board. But my goal is to help build consensus and get to a position that we're all comfortable with and happy with, frankly. And the retreat really helps us do that, because although we don't make any decisions at the retreat, we really find out a lot about where other people are coming from and their perspectives on things, and that's important. So that's all that I have today. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them in here. If there was something I was going to mention that I missed, I'll do a post today. But I've got a busy day today, and I got to get to City Hall in a little bit, because I'm going to have somebody following me all afternoon. You guys have a great day. Good morning, Sandy. I will have a great day and enjoy the rest of the week. Take care.
My name is LaRon Roberts. I'm a solid waste driver for the city of Largo. My role is I'm what they call a claw truck driver. So we drive around picking up bulk items. So anything that doesn't fit in your trash can, we're the one that pick it up. Refrigerators, cabinets, dressers, couches. I got diagnosed in 2019 by my doctor, running regular lab tests, and he saw that my kidney functions were off. And then you know how they do, they ordered more tests and more tests, and then eventually they determined that I had a genetic disease and that my kidneys were starting to fail. And so yeah, in 2023, they called me up one day, said, we got lab work, doesn't look too good, come to the hospital. And that's when they put me on dialysis. I had to have surgery. That the day they called me to the hospital and they admitted me, they had to put a port in my stomach. And what it is that every night I hook up to this machine, and then in the morning, the theory is that it got all the toxins out of you. They don't make it easy getting on the transplant list. I've been trying for almost 2 years now. I finally, last month, got on the list. And that means that now I'm able to receive a kidney. I go through Tampa General, and they have you go to their website, the Live and Donor Program, and what it is that you can call them, and if you want to be a donor, they'll send you out to a blood kit. You take that kit to either Quest or LabCorp. They'll test it and let you know if you're a match. So having a kidney would help me live a better life, so I can do more things with my kids, so I don't have to do 9 hours a night of dialysis. Because, you know, I work 10 hours a day. I get off at 5, get home about 5:30, and then at 8 o'clock I have to hook my machine up. So that only really gives me, what, 2.5 hours of time to rest before I have to be on that machine all night long. So, I mean, it's very challenging. Some days, you know, it's a struggle, but you know, life happens, and you know, I'll get through it, and hopefully when I get my kidney transplant, I'll have a better life. What gives me hope? To know that, because when I go to my doctor, I'm in the waiting room with other people with kidney disease, and I see that they have lived long lives, long, happy lives, and sometimes you talk to them because sometimes you're waiting there, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes to see the doctor, and they, you know, they tell you their stories and how they had kidney disease and they got a kidney transplant, and now they're doing well and they're living happy lives, and that this is only a temporary setback in your life, that it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't mean that this is over. Because when I first got diagnosed, you know how you go in that I'm gonna die kind of mindset, but then you realize and you start talking to people that no, this is not the end. Yeah, what gives me hope is knowing that there's other people out there with the same disease that have lived long, happy lives.